true story of survival against all odds. We are the Spy-Fi guys, and this is Bravo 20.
Welcome to the Spy-Fi guys.
So I apologize to the universe for that.
Yeah. Wow.
Justice for Denison!
Is it though?
I laughed and then I hated myself for laughing.
Welcome to Spy-Fi guys, where we cover spy facts, spy fiction, and everything in between. I'm Christian.
And I'm Zach.
And today we have a true story with Sean Bean called Bravo 20, which I've never heard of. Zach, how did we find this?
I was hoping you would know.
It was in our master list, and
I think it was the Gremlins again.
okay.
Longtime listeners may remember that we had a movie. I don't recall which one.
I think it was the Man with a Million Faces, or whatever, the Smoke and Mirrors.
Smoke and Mirrors, the Spanish movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
neither of us put it on our list, and both thought the other one had. So here on the Spy-Fi guys, we do spy movies, but we also do military intelligence movies. And this is an example of that. I don't know where we found this movie.
Okay.
It has Sean Bean in it, and I think what made me pick the one for this week is, as longtime listeners may also recall, I'm always on the hunt for something different.
And this is different. Kind of.
Yeah, I was telling someone this week, and maybe I told you already, Christian, if I have to watch another movie where a Nazi looks at the character's paperwork, looks up at them, looks down at the paperwork, looks at them again, and then says, "You can leave," I'm gonna go crazy. So this movie jumped out to me because we got SAS, we got Gulf War I or Iraq War I.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done that particular war before.
No, we haven't.
So I was like, let's just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, and we haven't really done a lot of SAS stuff, I think.
As far as I'm aware, this is the first one.
Okay, yeah.
Before we talk about the movie, how much do you know about the SAS?
Not much. I mean, other than that, they're this, what is it, the Special Army Service? Is that right? No.
Special Air Service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they're Brits, and that they're the elite, fighting force, basically. Yeah.
So I'll tell you two things about it. One is funny and the other is not. The first one is I read a history of them because it was called Who Dares Wins, which you may have heard that before. And yeah, they do special jobs. I remember the Falklands War was one that they talked about. But the reason why I read that was because I read a different comic book by Garth Ennis.
Oh, yes, this one.
A guy I know you're not the biggest fan of.
Not really.
But it was called Hitman. Did you ever read Hitman?
I've seen his appearance in other comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a superhero book. It was billed as a superhero book, but it's mostly about crime. And there's a part where our main characters get targeted by an SAS unit, and they hype the SAS to a ridiculous level. So Garth Ennis fans may know he's a bit of a military simp. He's a simp for the military, especially the British military.
Yeah.
Don't come find me, Garth. I'm so afraid of you. But anyway, so in the comic, the characters are like, forget God, forget the devil, forget Superman. These guys are way more dangerous than all of them because they're the SAS. Wow. So, yeah.
All right. So is that the funny thing?
Yeah,
What's the not funny thing?
The not funny one was just I read a book about them and they do special forces stuff and blah, blah.
And I guess in the sort of Bond world, there's the line from Casino Royale where Vesper pegs Bond as a former SAS type with easy smiles and expensive watches.
Wow.
Yeah. But according to his bio, he's actually SBS, which is the Special Boat Service, which is the naval equivalent.
Yeah, and they don't get nearly the same amount
They
of hype.
do not, no. But they're still as impressive, actually. I've read a little bit about them.
Good.
Plot synopsis.
All right, shall we get into it? So, give us our plots.
Yeah, so as always, we have our plot summaries in poetry form. As always, spoilers begin right here for a movie that came out in 1999. So first we have our haiku for Bravo 20. Mercy for Shepherd. 2 kilometers from border. Foreskin does the trick.
All right.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
That's nice, yeah.
And then here is the haiku summarizing Bravo 20. There once was a squad of 8 buds who went out to foil some scuds. They wandered around, they got run to the ground. The mission and movie were duds.
Ooh, ouch. Well, I guess kind of reveals what you thought of it.
In general, yes. And then here is the real IMDb plot summary, which is very long, just so you know.
Sure.
This is the true story of the most highly decorated British patrol since the Boer War, an 8-man SAS team inserted behind Iraqi lines during the Gulf War in January 1991. Their mission was to take out the Scud missiles, which Saddam Hussein was using to terrorize his enemies, as well as to sever the strategic communications line between Baghdad and northwest Iraq. This top-secret mission was called Bravo 20, and it was commanded by Sergeant Andy McNabb. Of the 8 who went out, only 5 returned. Dropped into Scud Alley carrying 210-pound packs, McNabb and his men soon found themselves surrounded by Saddam's army. Their radios didn't work, the weather was brutally cold, and they had been spotted.
That is very detailed.
Yeah, I didn't know they were the most highly decorated British patrol. That was not in the movie at all.
No. Alrighty, shall we get into it then?
Yeah, so the movie is off to a bad start because we get the Miramax title.
Alright, why is Miramax to you? Is it because of what's his face?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that they make good movies, but still. Sorry. What's his face is Harvey Weinstein for
yes.
the listeners.
Yeah.
And then we learned that it's basically a BBC TV movie.
Yeah. So, but we start off here very Top Gun.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Jet taking off from an aircraft carrier. Although I assume this is actually, I don't know. This could be an American jet because it is the Gulf War.
It had the star on it, so I think it's American.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they did the trick of just using documentary
they
footage
definitely
or
did, yeah.
news footage.
But yeah, so they're talking about action on Iraq and President Bush. I'm like, wait, what year is this? I had to think about it for a second. So, but yes, it's... Oh, and then you see very quickly, this Bush Senior. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so it's the first Gulf War and not, the second one.
Right. Oh, also, if you looked up the movie, it was made in 1999.
Yeah, that too. That would have... But I already forgot once I started watching it. Mm. But then we get based on a true story of an SAS patrol behind enemy lines in Iraq. Mm-hmm. And we start off with Sean Bean at home, coming out of the shower. We get another character with a bunch of kids who's leaving home. Another who's in bed with his lovers. We get no names for any of these guys until like halfway through the movie.
We don't get names, Christian, but we get boobs. That's a great start to the movie. I love that.
And a sound that it takes me a while to realize, that's a landline phone. It didn't sound like a regular landline phone, but it was...
Yeah. So I watched this with my wife, the parts that she stayed awake for, and she said she really appreciated how in this movie it starts with them at home. Most war movies don't start like that. It starts with them in camp.
It's true.
And their day starts like just a normal day.
And there's a real sort of getting the band back together montage feel with this. Like they even pull one guy out of the pub.
Yeah, literally. It certainly isn't like shipping off to World War II. Like their wives drive them to the base. That was interesting.
And we have a voiceover from Sean Bean's character, whose name
is Andy McNabb.
That's like the only one I actually remembered. And he's talking about how every soldier wishes for a war. This is mine.
I wonder if that's true. I think Special Forces soldiers, maybe.
Sure.
But having had quite a bit of experience working with soldiers, I think a lot of them just want to do their time and get out.
I think, yeah.
Feel free to write in if you have opinions.
But yeah, so they're shown to their base, and they're shown all their gear. We see the biological and chemical protection suits.
Yeah, that was the thing for Gulf War I, because Saddam was believed to have had chemical weapons.
Right.
There's a little bit of racism. Did you notice that part?
No, I might have missed it.
Okay, don't cancel me for saying this, but one of them says something like, we're going to go fight the Raggies.
As in Raghead.
Yes, correct.
That's not great.
Well, I mean, it's a characterization moment, which I thought was interesting.
Well, it's about as good as, I remember I had it... The count for all of our World War II movies, the amount of times they said it, a slur for Japanese people.
Yeah, that's true. So in that respect, this movie is a lot better.
Yeah.
But then another point of this movie's favor is Rick Warden is in it as one of the 8 guys. Rick Warden played Harry Welsh in Band of Brothers.
I was to say, he's a Band of Brothers guy, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And then they're eating their whatever the British equivalent to MREs are, the meals ready to eat. Have you ever eaten one of those?
I think you told me that you ate one once. I don't think
When I
I've
was in
ever
Boy
eaten
Scouts.
one.
Yeah, we had some of those, and it was like, these are pretty terrible. So
Are you the one who watches the channel where the guy opens the MREs and tries them? I think that might
no,
be ZJ.
that might be ZJ. Yeah,
ZJ,
yeah.
for those of you listening, he does our World War II episodes with us.
Yeah. And then we get, we have them saying, oh, they see their first attack. And I'm like, this has got to be, real news footage, because the quality of it is much different than the rest of the film.
Yeah, you can immediately tell. Not that the rest of the film is especially high quality either.
But yeah, so they get their assignment. They're supposed to go, to the main sort of service road and cut the wires for something. I didn't quite catch what it was.
Oh, is it because of the accents?
This did throw me off, yeah.
Did you not watch it with subtitles?
First half, I forgot I had subtitles. I was like, oh wait, there's subtitles. Let me turn them on. So,
subtitles are key. So they explain that Iraq is shooting missiles into Israel, which will trying to provoke a response. Mm-hmm. And the Air Force can hit the missile launchers that are in place, but the mobile ones, they can't, because they're mobile. They keep moving around. Right. But the mobile ones need to be able to communicate with Baghdad in order to function. So the SAS have to go and cut the wires.
Okay.
That will render them inoperable.
All right. I knew it was something about wires and missiles. I couldn't quite figure out.
Yeah, the accents are tough.
Yeah. I feel like I watch enough British stuff that I should be able to get it, but for some reason this one was just like, I think it's not just this, there was a lot of different accents too, so that's what it was like. I had to keep sort of switching mindsets on what yeah, there's
different accents. Also the sound quality, like the rest of the production quality, is not so hot.
So they go and they start to gather their gear, and one of the soldiers mentions that this is the first time that the entire regiment has been together since like World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they're raiding like the other parts of the regiment's gear to make sure that they have all the things they need, because they ship out in 3 days.
So this was something that was interesting, is because later, when they're lost in the woods, my wife asked, why don't they have night vision goggles?
I'm sure they did. It was all in the packs that they left at that point.
Well, there's might be that. And also, it's again something in my experience with the military is just because these fancy toys exist doesn't mean any specific soldier is going to have them at any specific time.
Fair enough.
Especially when you're talking about a lot of people. But they also say they have bad intel, bad maps, don't know anything about the terrain. So for those of you who are like, why are you covering this on a spy movie podcast? That's the angle, okay? It's bad intelligence that causes the whole mess.
Oh, is that why? I was wondering.
Well, let's just say it doesn't help.
Yeah. No, I mean that why we're covering it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but it is it's special forces, and it's like and we see Andy writing letters home to his daughter and his wife.
Yeah, I like how...
I don't know.
Well, the baby mama. Yeah. But I like how the baby mama letter is pretty bad.
Yeah, right? It's like, if you're getting this, I'm dead. Don't fuff around. Just move on with your life. But remember, and get the money out of the savings. But remember to put down $500 for the next, bar crawl for the men.
Yeah,
basically.
But see, it occurred to me, I wonder if he's written this letter 3 times before.
Maybe.
Yeah, so he's already poured his heart out like a bunch of times. And it's like, okay, you get the idea.
And then there's the one for the daughter that we don't actually hear. Yeah.
Oh, you hear like a little bit of it, and it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and then there's a whole thing about like they're getting all their gear, and then there's a thing about the sweets, the red and the green.
Yeah, the recurring. Yeah. It keeps coming back.
Everyone likes the red, everyone hates the greens.
So there you go.
Yeah. And then they take their picture. I'm like, oh, so this means like half of them aren't going to come back, right?
Yeah. Well, they relocate to a fob before they do that.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't clear where that fob was. Presumably it's in Kuwait.
And for our listeners, a fob is
a forward operating base.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, and then we get there, like they start taking a video of a man and like name and statement so that they can compare it to something when they. If they get captured, and they're all just sort of messing around with theirs. I forget, but this is where we finally get names for a bunch of them, but I do not remember all their names.
No, I'm not going to remember their names either, but I quite like this part. Yeah. It's probably my favorite part. It was a very unique way to introduce all the characters. Military movies are tough. They're all white guys most of the time. They all look more or less the same. It's very difficult to tell them apart.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I don't even bother trying. But the proof of life statements was cool.
Yeah.
Most of them were like kind of silly and dumb, but I like the one where the guy says Chaucer died on October 25th, 1400.
The one was what was Sean Bean's one or Andy McNabb's? I forget.
That's a good question, and it's something like "Why am I here?" or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So or there's jokes about winning a sweepstakes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get into their helo, or they call it a heli.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and which is transporting to their drop site, and then this is the first exciting moment. Is like where a missile gets a lock on them, and you see that the chopper pilots are trying to avoid it, and they're like waiting until the last minute to launch their chaff, and so I sort of think, oh, what if this is it? Like this is the whole story. Like, all right, the chopper gets hit. And they don't even get to their spell, and this is all of them trying to get back from the chopper crash.
I mean, you're pretty close to what actually happened. But did you notice something about this part with the heli? Mm-mm. It's like Star Trek: The Original Series.
Oh,
it's all shots from inside,
and they're leaning, and they're It didn't feel like that to me, so I went with it.
Yeah, no, I mean it was made on the cheap, is what I'm saying. Yeah. But it was exciting enough that you don't even notice. No, clearly it worked for you.
But yeah, but they managed to actually avoid it, and then they jump out of the heli with all their gear. With like 200 pounds of gear is what they say they have.
Correct, they do.
Yeah.
It takes them a long time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go, and then they find the main service road or main supply road. I have MSR, but I couldn't remember exactly what that stands. So.
Stands for Maiden Supply Route. They don't actually say it until later.
Yeah. And then, but there is a encampment there with like a bunch of guns and tanks, which is they were not anticipating. So they're trying to figure out, all right, how do we get around this? What do we do?
So I will say, as much as I say the production values are not good, I feel like they blew the budget on Iraqi equipment because they got tanks, they got trucks, they got a lot of good stuff.
I also appreciate that they don't do the usual thing that they do in movies and TV shows, where all right, it's the Middle East or North Africa. All right, we're going to put, a yellow filter on everything and make it look like, all right, some wavy lines to make it look like it's really hot. No, this is just, it looks like an actual place and not manufactured to look like the Middle East.
Well, it did make me wonder, and I didn't care enough to look it up, and I'm not going to now where they filmed it. Yeah.
It's probably somewhere in the UK.
Presumably, yes. But
it looked different enough that it's not immediately noticeable.
Well, my wife was surprised when said, I thought Iraq was in the Middle East. Why do we have trees? Why do we have grass? And when they go to different parts, I mean, not all Middle Eastern countries look like Dune, the planet.
Arrakis.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so as they're trying to figure out everything, and they're trying to get on the radio, but they're not getting any contact on the other end of the radio. They say they're transmitting fine, but I don't think they're being received.
Yep.
And as all this is going on, one of the soldiers sees, or they hear something, and it's a bunch of goats. And there's a little kid, shepherd, who basically comes right up to them and sees. Is this Mark? I don't remember which one this is. One of them, yeah.
One of the guys, yeah. And they're like, he never was much of a dad.
But this is not the guy who has like 5 kids at home, who we see in the beginning, I don't think.
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't think so.
Yeah. He tries to talk the kid down with some candy, I think, but the kid just says nope, gets out of there, and runs and goes and tells a bunch of the soldiers who tell him to piss off.
Which was an interesting twist.
Yeah, I was like, oh, are they actually going to get away with this? I don't know. But then he keeps going, and he finally finds a bunch of soldiers who will listen to him. And then we have our first action scene. Action scene with the men and not just, a chopper.
They leave. The SAS leaves. There's a part where Andy's gun has a compass on it.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Remember how in Call of Duty you could get, the upgrades? Well, you never really played much Call of Duty, right?
I'm not too
You're
much.
more like a Halo man.
Yeah. Well, I'm mostly multiplayer, but yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. So that was neat. And then they're, walking in the open, and that's when the Iraqis catch up with them.
That's right. Yeah, so we get... it's
a good fight. It's a good fight, really good fight. They use bazookas. They blow up trucks. They charge the enemy. And
they say that they need to get do a full front because they'll never anticipate it and never expect it.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But it just kind of goes on and on
Does.
and on. They throw a grenade in a tank, but then eventually the Iraqis counterattack, and then they do like a running battle, like where they're retreating.
A tactical retreat.
And none of them get hit, and none of them die.
That's what I'm like, wow, how are none of these guys at least hit? But then we have one of them who's like tore something or his leg or something. So that's about the extent of injuries at that point.
So I have a theory.
Yeah.
It's not based on anything.
Okay.
I'm not a soldier, obviously. But from what I've seen, there's a movie you may be interested in called Combat Obscura.
Okay.
Which is a documentary from Afghanistan. It's a little bit overrated. I was told it's like amazing. It's interesting. But one of the points that I think we're not aware of from movies like this is shooting takes place from much further distance apart.
Sure.
Okay? Like, they're way too close
yeah.
in the movie. It makes not a lot of sense. But if you consider that they're like, if you're shooting one on like the horizon, then I believe you could shoot at each other all day and never hit each other. Right. Even if you are SAS.
I did like how they're like, they use their packs, they drop their packs and use them as cover to get them close, and so because they're in the middle of a desert in just a big clearing, so there's no natural cover. Yeah,
there is a cool line. I didn't write it down. So Andy is like a Frank Miller style voiceover where he says like, in the desert, you'll get out a spoon and start digging if it makes a difference.
Yeah, something like that, I
thought that was a cool line.
Yeah. So at this point, they've abandoned their plans. They can't carry through the plan, so they're just trying to make it for the border to Syria. And as they're going, they go through the night. At one point, they hear a plane overhead, and they assume it's a friendly. And they stop and like try to radio, and they get briefly through to someone in the plane who just says, Bravo 20, you're very weak, come again, and then that's it. That's all the contact they get. So
that's more like bad intel, you could say.
And here's one of them. I think it's Mark. I don't remember who. My default name for all of them is it Mark? Maybe it's Mark.
Sure.
It's hypothermia.
Yeah, they're like hypothermia in the desert. I like the part there where using the map as a blanket. Yeah, it's scary. My wife couldn't believe it either, but like deserts get cold at night.
Oh yeah.
I also think it's funny that Syria is the place they go that's safe.
Yep. But so they keep going. They're travailing for many, many kilometers.
Yeah, they lose some guys along the way.
Oh,
I mean, like literally lost. Like they can't find them.
I think it's like 3 of them are lost. They were supposed to pass along the message that we're stopping to try to make a radio contact, and then they just didn't get the message of the head.
Yeah, so I like that because it feels real. It might be anticlimactic, but it feels real. Not everyone in a war movie needs like a big death. Tell my wife I love her. One at a time. So, meanwhile, they're being pursued by a guy who looks like Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, my theory is that the mustache was in style.
In North Korea, everyone has to have his haircut.
Right.
So everyone had to have a mustache in those days. And then we get another shepherd who sees them and goes up to them, waving very excitedly to them. Now I couldn't figure out, was he looking for the market, asking where the market was, or was he telling them where the market was so he could sell them stuff?
That's a great question. I think the movie is ambiguous about what his intentions were because we couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah. But he definitely didn't want to turn them in for something. He was trying to get money off it, seemingly. And then this is where it has to be true because it's so ridiculous. They steal a taxi.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So this was a little bit ridiculous, I thought.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're not murderers. That's why we didn't kill the shepherd. Even though it could have potentially saved our lives. So it's not cool to shoot an Iraqi, but it's okay to leave an Iraqi in the middle of the desert when they literally said 5 minutes earlier the weather was a threat to our lives.
Right.
So I thought that was a little bit strange.
Didn't think about that. That's interesting.
But it is better than them just walking. Them walking was starting to get a little bit old.
Yeah. So they drive for a while, and there's a whole bit about, all right, what's on the radio?
Yeah, they sing a song, like a song parody. My wife thought that was funny.
They get to a checkpoint. And
this was good tension, too.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what are they going to do? They obviously don't look Iraqi, and they don't speak the language. No. So how are they going to get out of this? Well, it turns out by blasting.
Run and gun.
And then I think I realized something at this point in my notes. This is just a not as good version of Operation Chromite. Which is another movie where they just blast everybody.
Which
every
one is
time they
Operation
get,
Chroma?
it was the
The
Korean
North
one.
Korean. You know what I was getting a lot of vibes up to at this point, and maybe it's because it just has Sean Bean in it. Age of Heroes.
Oh, yeah, I think I've forgotten most of Age of Heroes. But,
What all I remember is, alright, that something goes wrong and they all have to retreat and they all get split up, and I was like, and they're trying to get over the borders. Oh, okay.
No, yeah, you're right. It is Age of Heroes, basically.
Yeah. It just in a different war. Yeah.
There's a cool part where Sean Bean runs up to a truck and just blind fires into it. I thought that was kind of cool.
Or they throw a grenade in.
Yeah. And somehow, again, nobody gets hit.
Yeah. But they do lose like half the team because half of them go. Like it is like, 4 or 5 of them left at this point, and 2 of them go down a river.
For some reason.
Yeah. And then it's Mark and Andy together now. They're going more firefights. And then at one point, Mark gets separated, and we're led to assume that he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
It's the way Andy says, Mark.
He also used rifle grenades at one point, which I thought that was cool.
And then it's just Andy left, and
with 2 kilometers left to the border, but also 50 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? How is there? It's part of my notes. How are there still 40 minutes left?
I feel like we ask that question a lot with these movies, which is never a good sign.
Yeah. Well, so he goes and he hears people coming, so he goes and hides in a sewer. Mm-hmm. But he gets found and cornered. They're shooting around him.
Well, so how did they find him?
I don't know.
Just get lucky?
I think it's just luck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or he left a trail of,
Well, I mean, we knew that they were hunting for him.
That's true. Yeah.
So there you go.
So he's captured and then taken to a camp, and the Iraqis keep insisting that he's an Israeli.
That's right.
And so they beat him. There's someone else outside. And he's like, Mark? Question mark? But I don't think it's Mark. I think it's either Dinger or Stan, who's getting beat outside, and his eyes forced open.
Yeah.
This is where it was just getting the movie got really uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, obviously the stuff in the prison's really bad, and it goes on for a long time. But at the time, when it started, I was just happy that it wasn't just them wandering through the desert, shooting, wandering through the desert some
Fair
more,
enough.
shooting some more.
Sure.
So at first it was a relief, but then, obviously it's really difficult to watch, and we don't even need to talk about most of it. There was some interesting parts, though, like the part where he had gold coins on him.
Yeah, the gold sovereigns, which made me think of For Russia With Love. That was part of, I don't know if you remember it, it's in his, his briefcase. One of the gadgets was he had 50 gold sovereigns. That's how he gets Red Grant in the train. Is who wants more of them. So I was like, once he revealed that, I was like, oh, well, the Russia With Love.
Yeah. Then it was some interesting stuff where he wouldn't tell them what his job was.
Mm-hmm. They established a cover of what's our cover going to be. Pilot rescue. And then there's a down pilot. Yeah.
Just like spies. They can't just say who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of he's forced to eat like a dog. There's more beatings, and then the circumcision part.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was actually kind of interesting. It jumped to me right away. I thought of it right away. Where it's that's how you prove that you're not Jewish. And I will tell you why. Okay, I'll tell you why.
All right.
So, as we've discussed on the podcast before, my wife's Indian. And I read a book called Train to Pakistan.
Okay.
It's about the partition between India and Pakistan. And there was a lot of, as you probably know, there was a lot of intercommunal violence. Like 1 million people died. Oof. And there was various ways that they would, because people look similar, how do you know if someone's Hindu or how do you know if someone's Muslim? So the recent terrorist attack in India, Muslim terrorists, and they made people recite some Muslim phrase, and if they couldn't do it, they would kill them. But another way they would do it is they would check the men to see if they were circumcised. If they were circumcised, they were Muslim. If they weren't, they were Hindu. Yeah. Also, one last thing, from the Spy Museum, they have a little placard about an Indian who spied on Pakistan, and he circumcised himself to pose as a Muslim. I mean, he didn't do it himself. Presumably, he did it in a hospital.
All right.
Yeah.
But he had it done. I thought it was a behind enemy lines. All right, I need to know. Oh, okay, that's better.
No, he's not like
also
Abraham.
Just felt very, very dedicated. But yes.
Well, I mean,
having to do it as adults.
Yeah. Also, audience, we only get Sean Bean's butt.
Yeah.
We don't get the full Monty.
Which is the only part of the movie that Carolyn looked over and watched and said, wait, there's a butt there. Like, yep, that's Sean Bean's butt.
It was also interesting how the Iraqis were like laughing at the situation too.
Yeah.
But he also explains, like, I was wondering what their like end game is. He explains we have to give the rest of the SAS time to actually do the mission. And then we can tell them the truth.
Yeah. And there's a part where a dentist pulls a tooth off. And oof. And then there's a callback to the very beginning because one of the guys, I think it's Stan, was doing a crossword and he's just stuck on this clue. Turncoat for opera, 5 letters. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. And he says he finally figured out Tosca, which is an opera. I don't know why it's turncoat necessarily.
Don't look at me.
I've seen Tosca like twice.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember what the plot is. I guess there is a turncoat. I don't know. I haven't. It's been a while, and I'd have to review what it is. But I was like, oh, Tosca. For Bond fans, you'll know Tosca because it's the opera that's featured in Quantum of Solace. We get his flashback of Andy and maybe it's Mark, maybe it's Stan.
One of the
other guys, like driving in a car back in the UK, and like the other guy is like criticizing all of his cassette tape choices and like throwing them out the window if he didn't like them, and he ends up just throwing out all of it.
Yeah, that's right. They kill terrorists, but they also kill tapes.
Oof.
They're dangerous men.
But yeah, so enough time has passed, and Andy talks. He tells them close to the truth. Tells them that
tells them they were scouting the other.
Yeah, not that they were trying to cut the cables, or that there was another team or other teams or anything like that. So it tells them close enough the truth to hopefully get them something.
Right.
And what he does is he gets reunited with Dinger and Stan, and they all get to share a cell.
That's right.
And then there's this really uncomfortable stuff with the shit.
Yeah, I couldn't even figure out what was going on with the subtitles.
He was doing something.
Yeah, to make friends with this guy.
And to get cigarettes for Stan, I think, is what he said.
Now, that's true friendship.
Oh, God. It was just really uncomfortable to watch. And then we get news that Dinger and Stan are being sent home, but Andy is not. He's alone.
There's a brief interesting part before that where one of them escapes to Syria.
Oh!
And then, like, tells the truth.
That's right.
I thought he was going to screw over his buddies in prison, but then
too, yeah.
nothing happened with that.
Yeah, it was one of the people who got separated.
So that's like a weird consistency.
Yeah, just like actually made it across. And he's also like talking about how he mentions the bad maps, bad intel, and everything, and then all my sweets are green, and I hate green.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, here's the thing about that too, because he's talking about, and they say that he's SAS, and then they throw them the bag of sweets. So did he get captured and killed, or did he actually make it across the border? How did they get the bag of sweets?
I mean, you said they left a bunch of equipment behind.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
So that might have been part of it.
Okay. But I was like, wait, where are these sweets? And they're all green.
Presumably they're military sweets. You can't just buy them off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
No, I think they're specifically that. But I was like, where did they come from? These are the specific ones that they knew they were talking about. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a little bit strange.
Yeah. And then we get news reports about the end of the Gulf War.
That's right. Iraq loses. A lot of people surrender.
And Andy finally gets to go home. We see him sort of being checked out as you know, and then in the hospital he sees Mark, who is not dead, but he got shot in the foot.
I thought he was going to reveal like he was missing an arm or something.
I thought when he kept talking, you see my foot, I thought it was going to be just gone, like no foot.
That's like a World War II kind of movie.
Yeah, but no, it's just he was shot in the foot. It's all heavily bandaged up. And then he goes home to see his wife and kid, and it ends with the line that's something like, you know...
Here, I wrote it down.
You got it.
I thought it was a cool line. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
I have plenty of favorite quotes, so we'll put it down now. He says, "War is barbaric, but if you think this is the bit where I spend the rest of my life hugging trees, don't hold your breath."
That's like the last line of the film.
And then he said, "They had a job to do just like me. It's just some of them enjoyed it a bit too much.
Right.
And if I saw one of them on the street tomorrow, I'd slap them."
That's right. That's the last line,
I thought it was a cool line, but I also wanted to see him like reunite with his wife, reunite with his kids. If he's not going to hug trees, then like did this experience change his mind at all? I guess he's
Seemingly
going back
not.
out there.
Yeah. And then we get, the shot of the picture of all 8 of them. And so I think only 4 of them made it back. Wait.
5 of them.
Was it 5? Okay, that's right. Oh, the guy who actually made it across the port. Because there was the 3 with him. There was Andy, Digger, and Stan. And there was Mark in the hospital. And then the other guy who actually made it across. 5. Okay.
Well, and here you go. I thought you didn't remember the names.
I just remember the 3 because they were in that all together. And he mentioned, they like say their names a lot when they're in there.
That's right.
But then, and then Mark, because like they kept saying his name. And I'm like, all right. One of them's definitely Mark.
Spy fact versus spy fiction.
All right, so now it's time for our spy fact versus fiction.
I don't have anything. What do you have?
I have a decent amount.
Okay.
So the first thing is the thing with the shepherd.
Yeah.
So I swear I had heard this before. I don't remember which army it was. Like some Western army, American, British, whatever, where they were in a position and they catch a shepherd and they let the shepherd go and the shepherd goes and tells the enemy where they are and they all get killed. And
I'm sure that's happened multiple times.
No.
No?
I Googled it.
You found it?
I used AI. Never happened.
What?
Never been proven to happen.
Okay.
Okay? This was according to my AI research.
Interesting.
Maybe you can do better. I think it's like an urban legend.
Okay.
But they did say that people like Che Guevara is an example
where
a farmer told the police who were looking for him where he was, but Che Guevara didn't capture the farmer, let him go, and then that happened.
Okay.
All right. Actually, I think I have it written down here. There does not appear to be a well-documented real historical incident matching that exact scenario. Accounts like this are widely known as a plot point in the film and book Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
But multiple investigations and after-action analyses indicate the specific shepherd released and then betrays the seals episode is not supported by official records. That might have been where I heard it from.
Okay.
Okay, a quick thing about the Scuds. Approximately 42 Scud missiles were fired into Israeli territory during the war. 2 civilians died as a direct result of the missile attacks. Between 11 and 74 were killed from incorrect use of gas masks, heart attacks, and incorrect use of the anti-chemical weapons drug atropine. It seems like a kind of a wide range, though.
Atropine. That's what they give them give Nicolas Cage in The Rock,
Rock.
I believe. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. It's anti-chemical weapons. So this movie is based on a book, which apparently sold really well. It sold like millions of copies, according to this one article in the Irish Times. But then it seems like a lot of it's not true. Yeah, they did steal the taxi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think they ever shot their way through a checkpoint, though.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think they had this huge battle. So there's one called The SAS Man Who Wouldn't Stay Quiet on the Irish Times. So you might find this interesting. For the family of the late Sergeant Vince Phillips in particular, who have had to live with his vilification, particularly in the book, for compromising the patrol by failing to kill a young goat herd.
Oh, yeah?
So it's like vilification that he didn't do it. But he also got vilified for seeming to give up after they were split and the men got tired. Okay? So the different guys who come back tell different versions of the events, is basically what I'm saying. Also, there's a part where they refer to the Iraqi secret police as the White Sox. Do you remember that?
I did not catch that, yeah? Not true?
I don't know where that came from. A Google search didn't reveal anything.
Favorite quotes.
So now it is time for our favorite quotes. Would you like to go first?
Sure, I've got 2. I've got, the danger of... Now, I tried it for a second, gonna try to do Sean Bean's accent, can't do it.
Alright.
Danger of finding a hideout in pitch black is that at first light you could find yourself in the middle of a housing estate.
That's true.
I like that. And then this is when they're in the taxi. Did you know that Saddam Hussein is an anagram of he's a sad nudist? And then Andy asks, where'd the M go? Well, the other guy goes, I swapped it for a T. You can't do that. I just did.
Yeah, close enough. The SAS doesn't play by the rules.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah, this actually had some decent writing when you could understand what they were saying. I really like in the beginning, Sean Bean's getting ready, and he says, 4 years old, I've missed every one of them. Do you remember that part? There was a Chekhov's gun, only it was a Chekhov's explosive. They carry around the shiny thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that's not. But the shiny thing. Do you not remember what the shiny thing is? It's a sat nav. Oh. It's satellite navigation. That's how they're figuring out where they are.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so when the guy goes, that slam is a shiny thing. I like that. And then finally, the part where they take a picture, before they do, they say, "You want a picky?" It's like, and people wonder why the people don't take the British seriously with the way they talk.
Ratings.
Now it is time for our ratings on a scale of 1 to 10 martinis, 1 being even worse than Avengers 1997, 10 being even better or as good as Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. How would we rate Bravo 2-0?
Oof. All right. Let's let you go
I'm going to go first. So I'd like to write down things I liked, things I didn't like, the pros and cons. I didn't write them down, so I'll go from memory. So the pros are pretty good fighting, pretty good dialogue, and the midway change from fighting to the prison, I thought was pretty interesting. There were some good lines, like I liked the lines at the end. Also boobs. At the cons are just the kind of low production values. A lot of it was slow, and the prison stuff is upsetting to watch. And it really does feel like a TV movie. Sean Bean and Rick Warden does not save it. I was going to give it a 3.5.
Ooh.
But I think the boobs will push it up to a 4.
4. All right. 4 stars. Or 4 martinis, rather. All right. So for me, this definitely felt like a TV movie. It actually reminded me of, well, there's another TV movie. It was from 2001 that's shot Daniel Craig. It's called Sword of Honor, and it has him going through like World War II, and I like that one better.
Okay.
But it's not great. But I only really liked it because it's got Daniel Craig. Actually, you should. I'll loan you my copy if you're interested. It's quality. It's not good. The action was surprisingly good for this, but it really doesn't save it. I enjoy Sean Bean, but yeah, that last. It's not even half of the movie. It's maybe a last third, but it just keeps going and going on just the. Which I get that's part of the point, is you're supposed to show how terrible they were treated in that prison, but it's just very upsetting to watch.
Doesn't mean you want to watch it.
No.
My wife and I also, this wasn't intentional, but we broke it up into 2 halves, the movie into 2 halves. We came back the next day and watched the second half, which I actually think helped it a lot. If I had watched it all in one setting, I would have been like, please end. Yeah. And it's not even 2 hours.
And I think this did initially air as like a 2-part. It was like a 2-part miniseries, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you probably did it like how most people watched it, whereas I watched it the whole way through. And it was like, oh, that's just a lot.
No.
So, I was thinking about a 5, but then actually, talking more about it, I'm gonna stick with you and actually give it a 4 out of 10 martinis.
Yeah, I mean, to me, a 5 is average. It's definitely below average, but it's not so far below.
The action bumps it up to that 4. If you're interested in the Go For It, I'd give it a watch. But if not, or if you just want to see Sean Bean be in something and not die, I was wondering if he was, and then I actually did I just ended up like, oh, I'm curious, who's this guy? The guy that this is based on, he plays, and then I found that he survived. Like, oh, well, I guess this is not a Sean Bean dies in this movie.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say if you're interested in the Gulf War. So I would say I have 2 recommendations for people who are into the Gulf War.
Okay.
Perhaps you've heard of these movies. You know the movie Jarhead?
Yeah.
With Jake Gyllenhaal? Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but I've heard of it.
So what's great about it is that it's actually realistic in the sense that he just wanders around with his unit the whole time and they never get into a fight.
Oh.
Well, and if they do, it's extremely brief.
Yeah.
So it's mostly him being bored and wishing he was somewhere else. Okay. And then the other one I would recommend, do you know the movie 3 Kings? With George Clooney, Matt Damon.
I know of it, I've never seen it. It's on my list.
So it's a dark comedy, like a Coen Brothers style. And it's actually kind of similar to this. Okay. Because I think they kind of go off and do their own thing. I don't know if it's by the Coen Brothers, but it feels like it is. So.
All right. Okay. But I definitely wouldn't come back to this, but it's an interesting thing to see at least once.
Yeah, broke it up a little bit before we get back into World War II or the Cold War, right?
Right. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. You can find us on social media at the Spy-Fi Guys on Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Instagram, and our merch store at redbubble.com. Until next time, I'm Christian.
And I'm Zach.
And we are the Spy-Fi Guys, signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Spy-Fi Guys. If you enjoyed our podcast, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The theme song from this podcast is Mistake the Getaway by Kevin MacLeod from Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Films, books, and television shows reviewed by our podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended.
This is a personal podcast. Any views, statements, or opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and belong solely to the participants. They do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations that the participants may or may not be associated with in a professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual.
You can find our podcast on social media at The Spy-Fi Guys on Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram.